way interest works overall is that 80% of the people, these are figures which have come from an analysis of Germany, actually. Here's some of the figures. 80% of the of people lose some interest, 10% neither lose nor gain, and 10% gain tremendously. Then when you look at things like local housing, and here from the local government, or sewage, or dust bin collection, the actual cost, the percentage of the cost which goes in interest, in the housing, it's 70%.
Yeah.
I used to be a politician in local government in London, and there, I think it was about 75% of the housing account was purely going in interest. And all the time it was, we haven't got any money to build any more houses, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. And yet there was 70% of the account was going. Now, it has also been estimated that here, admittedly, principal and interest, but if you look at the cost of any product or service, on average, over a society, almost 50% is evolved as a result of repayment of principal and of interest. Yep. Now, something is profoundly wrong. And here's something else. If you now look at the world, there's more money owed than there is money in the world. Now, something has gone absolutely weird.
Yes.
Something has gone completely out of kilter. You've seen that a sort of vampire squid is descended and is now ensuring that whatever you do, you will never get out of debt, and that whatever you do, those who control the financial system will always be sucking, or American term perhaps, hoovering the wealth up to a tiny group. Now, the tiny group, they will say, yes, but what about trickle-down theory? Well, trickle-down theory is a lot of nonsense. The wealthy never ever spend all their income. What they do is they spend some, and then the rest of it they then put into investment in an economy which cannot actually serve that investment, because you see the productive capacity is not spread, and therefore the consuming capacity is not spread. So in all these things, you've got to get more of a balance in consumer capacity out amongst the bulk of the population. You've got to get rid of interest, and you've got to focus everything on productive capacity only. And Daryl, you're going to have to get rid of this casino economy.
Yep.
I mean, it is totally and absolutely false. It is totally corrupt. And when the next crack comes, there'll be one which will be the adjustable rate mortgages in America. That's one coming right out the rails. But one of the really dangerous ones is when it's realized that all the derivatives, which are supposed to cancel each other out, it doesn't work like that. If, for example, I fail to honor my contracts, that means that you, who've got a contract with me, you fail to honor your contracts, which means that somebody else, and in no time at all, confidence has cracked, and the whole system has cracked.
That has already happened, and they're disguising...
More to come, Daryl, more to come.
Well, they've disguised this now. They've disguised that by not forcing the failed assets to be declared on the balance sheets, and as a result, what we've got is banks that on paper are solvent, but in reality are not. And once you look below the lies that they've been allowed to tell, now, but there are accounting rules now that are forcing them. Now, in Britain, I understand that you can hide a failed non-performing asset for a certain amount of time, but over time, it has to be declared. And some of these assets that have gone belly up are now at the point where they're going to have to be shown onto the balance sheets. And what's happening is they're starting to bleed out the value of the real economy, transfer that wealth to these banks so that they can shore up the failed asset class that they've got on their balance sheets in order to keep them solvent. And the fact of the matter is it's only a Band-Aid on a burst artery.